Hey, it's Murph and Andy, and we love talking sports and more.
Catch us live at 1 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Iowa Everywhere.
And if you miss it, just go to iowaeverywhere.com. You can watch or listen there or wherever you find your podcasts.
Turnpike troubadours are coming to Des Moines.
Picking up barges on a long hot summer day.
Wild America Tour. Friday, February 20th at Horizon Event Center. With special guest Randy Rogers Band. A masterful live show like no other. Turnpike Troubadours. On sale now through Ticketmaster. Produced by Mammoth.
Jake Brend and Derek Duke break down everything you need to know throughout the Big 12. This is Bigger Than 12, presented by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Bigger Than 12 on Iowa Everywhere.
Hello and welcome to the beautiful Channel Seed Studios here on Iowa Everywhere, the fastest growing podcast network in the world, certainly in the state of Iowa, probably the world. This is Bigger Than 12 you're listening to on your Sunday. I'm Jake Brend, joined by the Duke, Derek Duke. How you doing, the Duke?
Doing good. Back home one more time. Just when you think you have this conference all figured out, it just takes a big dump on your head. But damn, what a weekend of the Big 12 it was, and we have a jam-packed show today for y'all. Hopefully I do not lose my voice. For whatever reason, I feel like my voice is starting to slowly fade away here, kind of like the Cyclone's hopes here.
Oh, I know why you're losing your voice.
Why?
I know exactly why. You were just yelling at your TV all day yesterday as my powerful West Virginia Mountaineers pull an upset on the road, and you're just embarrassing Central Florida Golden Knights get dominated on the road. A bad day to be the Duke in the Bigger Than 12 Bowl.
Yeah. Well, hey, they won the Bigger Than 12 Bowl, so that's over with. That's done. That championship's already won.
All right. Well, I'll do my best to make you not lose your voice, so I'll just talk the whole show. Everyone will like that, right?
I'm sure.
No, nobody wants that. We've got a good show in store for you today. Texas Tech is back. Not that they ever left, but they're back. You get what we're saying. Utah dominates Cincinnati. West Virginia is frisky. Frisky West Virginia. Iowa State loses their fourth in a row, and Jeff Sims becomes the Heisman favorite. Baylor bounces back, and then those poor players down in Stillwater and Boulder. We'll have all that, our random Big 12 quarterback, our top 5 power rankings brought to you by Whiskey River, Iowa Trivia, Big 12 Survivor. We'll close with some game picks, and then, of course, our superlatives from Saturday, November 1st in the Big 12 Conference. It's all brought to you by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. We're in November, and you can just see the new year in the distance. It's not here yet, but it's almost here, and the new year is always a sign of when you should go and start getting work done on your taxes. It's always a good time to overlook your retirement accounts, your investments. Go and get ahead of it. Do it before everybody else does, and you should go and do it and give business to our friends at WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. Tim Hawkins and his team do an incredible job of taking care of you and simplifying your wealth. Go to wealthcharterretirement.com for more information. Let's start with Texas Tech. Not the best team in the conference necessarily by the rankings, BYU, but if there's a team in the Big 12 that's going to make a lot of noise in the college football playoff, it's Texas Tech, and they pick up a crucial road win against Kansas State in a game that had all the makings early of getting away from them. They get down early, they turn it over a couple times, and their defense punches back, literally punches the ball out so many times to just take K-State out of the game, and they cruise to a statement win that if you're looking on the surface, you beat a 4-4 Kansas State team. In my eyes, they beat a Kansas State team that was favored to win the Big 12 coming into the year. They were picked to win the Big 12. And in my eyes, they had been playing like that team that we all thought very highly of. So Texas Tech picks up a massive, massive road win. What were your thoughts on the Red Raiders showing in the Little Apple?
Well, it's nice to have Baron Morton back. That's been the story all week long for the Red Raiders, and clearly he was an upgrade from Will Hammond the last couple weeks. Morton was able to move the offense, move the chains, got plenty of help from Jacoby Williams in the run game. The offense was able to finish drives, which is something we really haven't seen in a while for Tech. But the big thing for them in this game was the defense, which we already knew was great. The defense forced 5 turnovers on the day and kind of helped seal the deal with that scoop and score there in the fourth quarter. When Tech was able to move the ball like that, when their defense plays that well, I mean, that's what makes this team so dangerous. When they're playing at their best, I'm not sure if there's a team in the Big 12 that can truly beat them. And as you mentioned, keep in mind, forget Kansas State's 4-4 record going into this game. They were playing their best football this season, and they ran into a brick wall that is Texas Tech. And now for Kansas State, any sliver of hope of going to Jerry World is pretty much gone at this point. And kind of looking ahead for them, 3 games left against Oklahoma State, Utah, and Colorado. It's hard not to see this team finish 6-6, which is mind-boggling considering the expectations we had for this football team.
Yeah, on the surface, again, I keep saying on the surface, this was a 23-point loss for Kansas State. And, I mean, look at the wall behind me. I'm an Iowa State fan. I'll take any opportunity I can to kind of diss on Kansas State. I didn't really even think that was that bad of a performance. Yeah, the score got away from them in the end, but they looked like they belonged in the game, and they had they had some bad plays. They had some fumbles, but I thought this loss said way more about Texas Tech and the talent that they have rather than the mistakes Kansas State made. And that leads me in to my carbless, refreshing take of the week, and it's Texas Tech never left. Yes, they had that rough one out at Arizona State where they couldn't really move the ball, and they lost a game I'm sure they want back. But much like a refreshing carbless coming in all sorts of flavors, sometimes you just need a week, sometimes you just need a sip of carbless to get things right. And a win that, again, maybe the national media, maybe the whole public doesn't know how impressive of a win that was. The people inside that building, the coaching staff, the players, the fans within the Big 12 Conference know how big of a win that was. And Texas Tech gets things right, and they're now back in the driver's seat, most likely, to be able to punch their ticket to Jerry World. And if they're in Jerry World, I don't care who they're playing, as long as they've got Baron Morton, as long as they don't have a couple devastating injuries, I'm picking them to win and represent the Big 12 in the college football playoff.
Yeah, his health is going to be very important for Texas Tech. That's kind of what made me kind of buy back in. But the problem is just with Morton is the history of injuries he's had over the years. He just simply hasn't stayed healthy, and that could be a problem moving forward. If he goes down for Texas Tech, I can't see you saying like, hey, this is a team that's going to make it to Arlington anymore.
There's a big caveat there.
Exactly. So his health is just so crucial for this team, and we'll see moving forward if he can stay healthy. I think if he can, then there's no reason that this team should make it to Arlington.
So I've got their last 3 games pulled up. They host BYU next week. Don't worry, we'll break that game down in our pick segment. They host Middle Florida on the 15th of November, and they close in Morgantown at West Virginia. That's a tough game. That's a dang good football team up there up in Morgantown. But the reason I bring this up is I'm on the so-called worldwide leader of sports website, and they've got the tickets listed. Guess what the lowest get-in price is for next week's top 15 matchup against BYU?
I'm going to guess $300.
Close. $441. I'm not going to act like a tech historian, but I would imagine that there hasn't been a bigger game in Lubbock since the Michael Crabtree game against Texas back in, was that 2007?
2008.
2008. Like, this is a massive game for Texas Tech. You win this, we'll get to it, they're going to be favored. You're all but a lock to get to Arlington at this point, I would imagine. Yep. And BYU's good. There's a reason BYU's got a number 8 by their name. I'm so excited for this game. Before we move on to our next game, I got to give out our Beast of the Week, presented by
Beast of the Week.
My Beast of the Week, presented by the Beast Hard Seltzer, goes to Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker for Texas Tech. I thought this was a misprint. Guess how many fumbles this guy has forced this year?
5.
7.
7, damn.
He's also got 2 interceptions to go with that. He's recovered one of his own fumbles. He leads the team in tackles. He's got a sack. There is no bigger beast in the Big 12 Conference than Jacob Rodriguez. And somehow he's not even the biggest beast in his own relationship. He's married to an Air Force pilot. Yeah. This guy is unbelievable. Garrett Oakley is probably kicking himself right now, how he fumbled. What was he supposed to do? You're taught to hold it high and tight. He held it as high as possible, as tight as possible. Rodriguez, for whatever reason, has the best punch for a football player I think I've seen since David Montgomery in 2018 when he punched the Baylor guy in the face mask. Rodriguez just finds a way every single time, every single game it seems like, to somehow punch the ball out, perfectly executed and change games. Rodriguez might be the front runner for Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. This guy's an absolute stud, and he is so worthy of my Beast of the Week. And, I mean, he's probably not going to be drinking any hard seltzers this week. They've got a big one coming up. But if he did, I think his choice would have to be the Beast Hard Seltzer. Mean Green, White Haze, Gnarly Grape, and Killer Sunrise. Look for it wherever you purchase your alcohol. Of course, you got to be 21 years old and drink it responsibly.
Yeah, and Texas Tech, their entire defense does a great job of punching the ball out just all around. That's why they force so many turnovers, and that's why they're so dangerous. They're a really, really good defense, well-disciplined too, well-coached by Sheil Wood. So, yeah, that defense on Saturday against Kansas State, how many turnovers they had? Like 5 on the day?
Yeah.
I believe
5
it was
turnovers.
5 on the day. I mean, it was just incredible to see
Avery's first pass of the day and then 4 fumbles after that. He's also got, not to harp on Rodriguez too much, he's got 13 career forced fumbles.
That's a lot.
He's got 17 takeaways as a Red Raider in 3 seasons.
Great mustache, too, by the way.
Awesome mustache. So
awesome mustache.
Kudos to you, Jacob Rodriguez. We'll move on to Salt Lake City, where the undefeated in conference play Cincinnati Bearcats ran into a buzzsaw. A total buzzsaw as Utah dominates Cincinnati in front of a jacked up home crowd that'd been up since who knows when for college game day. And they were a crowd that felt like they hadn't slept yet. And this game got away from Cincinnati quick. They got back into it a little bit, and then Utah blew the doors off of them again in the third quarter, walking away with a 45-14 win. Your thoughts on Cincinnati's first Big 12 loss of the season?
I know they were undefeated in Big 12 play, but was anybody truly shocked at what Utah did? I mean, Cincinnati's weakness was their defense, and it was going to cost them at some point, and Utah made them pay. And that's why Utah is going to be my focus for my carbless refreshing take of the week here. Utah ran for 267 yards, completely controlled the game, held the ball for actually over 40 minutes. In this one, they completely sucked the life out of Cincinnati's defense. Devin Dampier, yet again, managed the game extremely well outside of that one turnover. Plus, I mean, Utah's defense played really good. They probably gave Cincinnati's offense their toughest test, and they forced 3 turnovers as well. Brendan Sorsby probably had his worst game of the year. He turned the ball over twice and completed, just 33% of his passes, I believe. So I know Utah already has 2 losses, but they're still a championship caliber team, in my opinion. They run the ball well. They play great defense. And Dampier has been really a pleasant surprise for this offense. I didn't think I would say that. At the beginning of the year, I was questioning if he was going to be able to be good enough for this team to compete for a Big 12 title. I think he certainly is. This is a team that I would not want to see in the final month of the season.
Yeah, when you factor in that atmosphere, that defense, and an offense that is so good when they're up. That's their problem. It's what they ran into against Texas Tech. It's what they ran into against BYU. Dampier is limited if he's got to come from behind. Yes, he's the most accurate passer in the Big 12. He's still not an explosive downfield threat with the pass. But what they're able to do with that offensive line, his running ability, the ability of Wayshawn Parker on the ground, that is a tough matchup. And that they've got an uphill battle because they do have 2 losses in there to the 2 best teams in the conference. So tiebreakers might not be in their favor, but they get Baylor, K-State, Kansas, their last 3.
Very favorable.
Very favorable schedule. And another kind of tough schedule as we move on to Cincinnati. They're my Who Needs a Fix presented by Freedom Tire. And we've talked about this a little bit this season, where when you go into your local Freedom Tire in Altoona, Ames, Des Moines, West Des Moines, or Urbandale, you don't always need your brakes completely changed, or you don't need 4 brand new tires. Sometimes you just need your routine, your every 3-month oil change and maybe a tire patched up. And that's where I'm at with Cincinnati, where I still think they're a really good team. They just got the brakes beaten off of them. And that happens. That especially happens when it's a 9 o'clock kickoff, when it's a 10 o'clock kickoff in their minds in a charged up Rice-Eccles field against a really good Utah team, a Utah team that might be better than them. But when you look at their schedule, they get Arizona at home next week. I guess, no, they get a bye. Then they get Arizona. They play BYU at home. That'll be a massive game, and they close at TCU. That's a tough
slate.
It's a tough slate, but they still only have 1 loss in Big 12 play. The cards are still in their hand. They control their own destiny to get to Dallas. They just need to get in the bye week, maybe fix some kinks that are going on. Tell Brendan Sorsby to move on from that rough game. He's been so good all year. You lost to a really good defense. It's not the end of the world. They'll have a chance for a get-right game against Arizona, and I guess they'll just have to wait and see what happens in Lubbock next week if BYU's coming off of a loss or if they're getting an undefeated Cougars team in Nippert Stadium on November 15th.
I think Sorsby's going to bounce back. He's been great all season long. I don't have any question about him bouncing back. But again, I think it was safe to say that we knew at some point Cincinnati's defense was going to cost them.
Absolutely.
And it did on Saturday night. I mean, Utah just ran flat over them. And the thing is about Cincy, their offense has carried them so far. But when you don't play well offensively and when you turn the ball over, 3 times in that game, and your defense isn't reliable, then you aren't necessarily unbeatable. And unfortunately, I think Cincinnati found out the hard way in Salt Lake City against a really good and tough Utah team.
Yeah, and this game itself was interesting because Cincy got out, or Utah got out to such a big lead in that second quarter. But Cincinnati comes out, they score, or they get a stop, they score right away on a big play. And then Utah cruises down the field. Dampier throws an interception in the red zone. So you've got all the makings of go down and this is the game, and they weren't able to capitalize. Credit to Utah on their defense, and then they were able to get a score. Then they scored on that punt return, and that was kind of the game. And that's a hornet's nest of an atmosphere that you don't want to mess with. So Utah, Cincinnati, both still Big 12 title contenders, but this loss certainly opens things up a lot more for Texas Tech than if Cincinnati were to walk away with a win.
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't think the game lived up to the hype either. With College game day being there, it really didn't. I don't know if you could say it made the Big 12 look bad, but the game itself certainly didn't live up to the hype that we gave it. Yeah,
and the atmosphere was incredible, but you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to stay up for the fourth quarter of this game, and I made the right call. For me, the appeal of these 9:15 games is find a way to keep me up until 1:30 in the morning watching college football
and betting.
And maybe a better, maybe 1 or 2,
maybe a couple.
I'm not crazy, but we'll move on to a total stunner. But first, I want to share this new contest that we've got coming up here at Iowa Everywhere. The Turnpike Troubadours bring their Wild America Tour to Des Moines on February 20th at the Horizon Event Center. You can enter at iowaeverywhere.com for a pair of tickets to the show. And if you do that, you might get to meet Derek Duke. We'll see. Just maybe. Winners will be drawn and notified next week on November 11th. That is a Monday. I believe that will be revealed on Two Guys here on Iowa Everywhere. So go to iowaeverywhere.com and enter for a chance to win. That Horizon Event Center, you've probably never been there, Duke, but
I looked it up. I have not been there.
It's pretty new. It's I want to say only 2 or 3 years old. It's a really cool concert venue. Really cool. So if you're a country music fan, this is the type of show for you. Go and enter at iowaeverywhere.com for your chance to win.
It's going to be a hell of a show. I've seen Turnpike many times, always put on a great show. I saw him at the rodeo last year in San Antonio. Awesome time. They always put on a great show. And for those who don't know, Randy Rogers Band is also one of my favorites too. So 2 great bands one night.
Yeah, and even if you don't win our contest at Iowa Everywhere, we hope you do. You should still go buy tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Sure.
Get a seat in the door and get to experience a great concert at a really cool venue. We'll continue to promote this concert up until February 20th in Waukee. The Waukee side, West Des Moines is where that concert is. West Virginia just pulls the stunner of the weekend, and I was blown away when I saw the final in this game. I was following a little bit in the first half when I saw West Virginia went up. I saw Houston came back. I didn't get to see any of the game until this morning, but when I got done with all my post-game press conference duties in Ames, I was shocked to see that West Virginia held on, and they didn't just hold on. They brought the punch to Houston and hand the Cougars their second Big 12 loss of the year, 45-35 on the road, as Rich Rodriguez picks up his first ever Big 12 win.
Yeah, there were some upsets this weekend in college football, but I don't know if there was one bigger than this one. I mean, who saw this offense putting up 45 against you? I know one was a pick six, but what a performance by this offense, led by none other than Scotty Fox Jr., who's going to be, I'll try this, I don't know if I can with my voice, but going to be my Beast of the Week.
Beast of the Week.
Don't ruin your voice.
I know.
Be careful.
Boys, West Virginia has found themselves a quarterback, and it's Scotty Fox Jr. Didn't light it up through the air like he did against TCU, where he threw for like over 300 yards. But he didn't need to, because he ran for 65 yards and 2 scores, leading West Virginia to by far their biggest win of the year. Maybe against Pitt, but I think this is a bigger one. Top 25 team on the road. And West Virginia has found something with this kid. I don't know what it was. We saw glimpses of it against TCU, and then against Houston, I thought he was really good, managed the offense extremely well. When you have Scotty running like that, and then the rest of the team, by the way, who they totaled 246 rushing yards, West Virginia is going to give some teams fits, and Houston found out the hard way. They outrushed Houston, won the turnover battle 4-0, by the way. They looked ready to go. Meanwhile, Houston, they look like a team coming off a big win, early kickoff, barely anybody there, and which, by the way, is a serious problem. Houston 7-1 team.
We got to talk about that.
Top 25 team, and the stadium's empty, which is absolutely pathetic. Something needs to change there drastically, but Houston looked tired, sleepy, whatever you want to call it. They definitely had a hangover from that Arizona State win. But West Virginia, shout out to them. They got ready to play. They looked really, really good, and no, I don't think you can look at their schedule. You can't look at them if they're on your schedule and think that's going to be an easy win anymore, because they're playing their best football of the year right now.
Yeah, considering that just last week they lost in a 1-score game to TCU and went on the road against a really good Houston team and beat them. You're right. They're not bottom of the barrel in the Big 12 like we thought of even just 2 weeks ago. So what a win for West Virginia. I'm shocked that this happened to Houston. I'm not shocked that it was a letdown spot. You said it. It had all the makings of a letdown spot, with it being an early kick, a sleepy crowd, coming off a big win against a bad team. Did I think they would lose? No shot. I didn't even consider that. Again, Houston was so far ahead of schedule that it's not like this is a disappointment or anything. But it's hard if you're a Houston fan, if you're looking at them from the outside looking in, to see what they've already accomplished and what was still on the table with the opponents that they had left. It is a massive what if that man, you turn the ball over how many times against West Virginia?
4 times.
How does that happen? And you let West Virginia run all over you with their second and third string running back. It's their third string quarterback, fourth. I don't even know what the pecking order. They've had so many injuries. But again, it's a good win for West Virginia, and Houston has some soul searching to do if they want to rally down the stretch with UCF, TCU, and Baylor remaining on their schedule.
Oh, for sure. That was just such a great win for West Virginia, and I think what we saw in the TCU game, like we saw glimpses of it, but this is a game that they played really from start to finish, by far their best game, outside of probably the Pitt game, which feels like a lifetime ago at this point.
Feels like a different season.
Yeah, it's a completely different season for that. You're right on that.
We got to talk about their crowd. That was embarrassing. I saw some Houston fans on social media that were upset about it, and I totally get it. Rightfully so. And I saw you retweeted this thread. I should have given the gentleman credit. But the points he was making was that it's too expensive to go watch it's too expensive for a fan base that's still growing. His point was that they need to invest in their fans now and stop charging $50 for parking, $20 for a beer. Just get people in the seats. It's the front porch method of get them there, make them customers, make them feel welcome, make them want to come back. And then 10 years down the road, that's when you try and make money off of your fans. If you rewind to 2005 when Iowa State didn't have great football attendance, Jamie Pollard didn't walk in the door and charge $1,000 a year for parking. He didn't charge a ton of money to sit in the upper deck at Jack Trice Stadium. Like you just got to get people in the door first. And it seems like that's an administration problem at Houston. It's also got to be somewhat of a fan problem if people aren't showing up. Your team's 7-1. I don't care if it's expensive. You got to fill the stadium. That was a bad look for them. It was a bad look for the Big 12, even though most fan bases in the conference aren't doing that week in, week out. But I was shocked to see pictures of that.
And it's been a problem for years now. We've seen it. I can remember going back to Houston's opener, their Big 12 home opener a couple years ago. It was dead. We had somebody on site there from Heartland College Sports. It was completely dead. And I went to the UCF game when they hosted Baylor for the first time. Sellout crowd. I want to say everywhere else was a sellout crowd except for Houston. And the stadium was less than half full, which, again, I know times were different back then. They weren't as good coming in, but 7-1, you're a top 25 team. Like you just came off that big win against Arizona State. I don't get it at all. And you're right. I know Houston, it's in a big city. They don't have a ton of space to work with when it comes to tailgating, parking, all those ththings, but they've got to get that figured out. They need to build that fan base back up. I can remember 10 years ago with Tom Herman, who actually they were, I think, celebrating the 10th anniversary of the 2015 team. Like, I can remember that when those crowds were full. They were selling out the stadium, but something's got to change because Willie Fritz and his football team deserve a hell of a lot better than what they got on Saturday.
Couldn't have said it any better. Show up, pack that stadium, and give Willie Fritz the crowd he deserves.
Absolutely.
All right. We ignored it long enough. But hey, the way we structure this show is we kind of go contenders down. So we were talking all these contenders, and now we get to Iowa State losing their fourth game in a row to Arizona State. I can speak from firsthand experience. This was one of the most miserable games that I've ever attended. From a play perspective, from a cold rain perspective, and just a overall depressing feel, almost a defeating feel. It didn't feel like Iowa State lost the game. It felt like Iowa State defeated the season, if that makes any sense. And it's not to mention the unfortunate injury to Ben Bramer. We're very glad to hear that he's out of the hospital and stable. We wish him nothing but the best. But from an on-field perspective, I think it's just time to accept that this Iowa State team is not a good football team. It's not the football team that we expected them to be. It's not the team that we thought they were a little over a month ago. Injuries, pressing, coaching, quarterback play, all of that has combined into this Iowa State team looking below average at best. And that's difficult for me to say. It's difficult for me to watch, and I'm kind of out of words.
If Aiden could play some sad, depressing music, then this would be the time to do it. But when I look at it, it's like it's the same shit, different game with this team. The defense isn't great. They're not disciplined. And when they do get a break with the turnover, which they got a few on Saturday, the offense can't capitalize at all. And speaking of the offense, they're just completely lost right now. They are in a complete funk. Rocco looks lost, and he isn't making the throws he normally makes. He looks off. And to be honest with you, he hasn't looked like himself for weeks now, really since he took a couple big hits earlier in the year. And special teams wasn't great. I think Matt Campbell said after the game, 70% of the time it's good, but the other 30% it's just really bad. And what we are watching week in and week out is, to me, and I said this after the game, it's a mediocre football team, and then you throw the injuries in, and it becomes a bad football team. And a team that finds a way to win games or lose games instead of win games, that's what Iowa State is right now. Also, I kind of looking back here, I went back a couple games. Once again, the second half for this team, especially offensively, last week against BYU, they get outscored 24-3 in the second half. Then against Arizona State this week, they only score 3 points in the second half. And going back to their last 3 games, Iowa State has scored 1 touchdown in the second half. So something's got to change there offensively. I don't know what's going on, but again, I know injuries have played a big part, and it's not necessarily a next man up mentality because, like you said, I think you said this on the pregame show, Jake, at halftime, that some of the guys stepping up just aren't the same caliber player as the ones that they're replacing. But hats off to Arizona State. I thought Jeff Sims, used his legs well, ran for 220-plus yards. Arizona State's defense didn't let Iowa State beat them at all, really clamped down again in the second half, giving up just 3 points. But the Sun Devils without Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson should not go into Jack Trice Stadium and beat Iowa State. That's just plain and simple, and it did on Saturday because I think Iowa State's just not a very good football team right now.
Yeah, I think all that is completely right. And you talk about injuries, and I know fans don't want to hear it, don't want to hear excuses. Well, here's my stance on the injuries. The injuries no doubt have changed the defense. You just can't lose 2 All-American caliber corners and expect everything to stay the same. With that being said, yes, the defense gave up a career day to Jeff Sims, which is not ideal. Nobody in that locker room is happy about that. But the defense still allowed 24 points. 24 points should be way more than doable for this Iowa State offense. And guess what? The Iowa State offense is not dealing with a ton of injuries. Yes, guys are banged up. It's football. I say this before the Bramer injury. You haven't really had any sustained injuries on the offense. You lost Hansen for a game. You've lost Burr to start the season. Sewell Townsend banged up to start the season, but there hasn't really been a season-ending injury across the offense like there has been the defense. The offense, it comes down to execution, whether that's physically executing it or mentally executing the play. They're not doing it. And in my eyes, the offense has let this football team down. And I did not think that'd be the case coming into the season. I didn't think that'd be the case after what we saw the second half of the Aer Lingus Classic in Dublin. It's not what I thought when I thought the offense moved the ball pretty dang well against a really good Iowa defense, even if they didn't have the points to show for it. It's not what I thought when they exploded against Arizona. This offense is not the same, and they need something to change.
I think I was saying, I think the hard thing is just watching the offense. You see glimpses of it and flashes of it at times, but then you see times where they drop a pass, they have a penalty, they just continuously shoot themselves,
and it's always at the wrong time.
Exactly, every single time.
It's always when you expect it. Oh, it's 2nd and goal at the 2. I'm not a Taylor Mauser hater. I give Mauser a lot of credit. I think he's a good OC. I don't think a lot of this has been on him. I think maybe the Colorado game he put on him, but he's got guys open. Rocco's missing guys when they're open, and when Rocco puts it on guys, it seems like they drop it half the time.
Yep.
But if I have to pick apart Taylor Mauser's game plan on Saturday, you're 2nd and goal at the 2, and you're drawing up a direct snap for a running back who is your third string, who hasn't really played a lot. At this point, if you're inside the 5, I think you just got to do 4 straight tush pushes or 4 straight handoffs right up the middle of the Carson Hansen, because it seems like any other play at this point results in a loss. It results in a penalty. It results in something that's not working. And I think at this point, you've got to get as uncreative as possible, which I know makes me sound like a total hypocrite if you listen to what I was saying after the Ohio game in 2023 or after the 2022 season. But at this point, it's been proven to work that Iowa State almost always succeeds on a Rocco Becht quarterback sneak. I think you have to take the risk of any penalty out of the question. If you're within the 5-yard line, just run the ball up the middle and try and score that way with an offensive line that's playing pretty well. It's frustrating. I'm clearly frustrated. The players are frustrated. The coaches are. Everybody's frustrated because this potential dream season is what it looked like after 5 games is now a borderline disaster season. And there's still time to rally. It's a Matt Campbell coached team that typically does well with adversity. I'm not saying the season's over. I'm not saying the season's a total disappointment if they rattle off the next 3 games, but it's a potential disaster season with how things started.
I think the best thing to happen in that game was probably the group of shirtless fans.
Yeah. How about those? How about those gentlemen?
Raining, cold, they didn't care. Still had their shirts off, just waving them around. I thought that was pretty cool.
How about those fine gentlemen? Look at those scholarly men. Well behaved.
It was cool on TV. It was cool on TV.
It was cool in person.
Yeah.
But I saw it start. I think it started with 3 guys who went up there.
Okay.
And then slowly, you fill a couple rows, and then it was just a snap of your finger. The entire section was full. Cy went up there, took his pants off. Take that out of context. Yeah, it was cool. And it honestly changed the atmosphere of the game also.
It did.
Like, it was really loud down in that southeast end zone, even though there weren't a ton of fans actually in the southeast end zone seats. There were a lot, I'm sure, warm in the Sukup end zone club. But those college students, they did all they could. That loss was not on them.
Not at all.
Baylor beats Central Florida 30-13. Kind of what I expected to happen. Maybe the weirdest football line of the entire weekend. That's why I didn't touch it, because it was so weird. It seemed too obvious that Baylor was going to run away with this game, and they did what they are supposed to do. That's really my only takeaway.
I found it fascinating that the line for this game, I think, got as low as, was it 4 points or 3.5?
I think it was 3.5 at one point.
At one point, I don't
bizarre.
know why. Yeah, but this game was really never close. Sawyer Robinson had a bounce-back game. Really kind of looked like the Sawyer Robinson that we expected to see. 267 yards, 3 scores. But what impressed me really in this game was Baylor's defense. I talked shit about them all week long. I even wrote a Fire Dave Aranda piece talking about their defensive struggles. Yeah, you missed that one. I don't know. Maybe he'll come back in a couple weeks. But I was talking about their defensive struggles. And then against UCF, they played their best game defensively. UCF scored, 3 points, 225 total yards, 1 for 11 on 3rd down. And I get it. Like, UCF's no offensive power, but it was nice to see Baylor's defense play well and for the offense really just not turn the ball over anymore. But at least for now, Dave Aranda's safe for another week, I guess. But the thing for UCF is now here looking at them, They're going to have to win 2 of their next 4 to get to a bowl game. They've got Houston, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and BYU. I think they could beat Oklahoma State, maybe. I don't know, with Zane Flores back now, but their bowl chances are not looking good in year 1 under Scott Frost.
And that's okay. As much as I mess around with those fans down at Florida Central, it is year 1.
It was expected.
It's year 1 of the Scott Frost era. You still have to give away your Freedom Tire Who Needs a Fix, and I hear it's going to the Colorado Buffaloes as they lose 107-14 at home against the Arizona Wildcats.
Feels like it.
I picked the under in this game, and Arizona hit the over by themselves. Actually winning this game 52-7 was the final.
Yeah, I'll give Arizona credit. They showed up, played well. Noah Fafita, I think he threw 4 touchdown passes in that game. But, yeah, I had to take a minute for Colorado. They are going to be my Freedom Tire Who Needs a Fix. And they probably, at this point, just need to live at Freedom Tire for the rest of the season because they have just so many problems. Second week in a row where this team doesn't show up. In their last 2 games, Jake, they've been outscored 105-24. They're having a quarterback carousel on offense. The defense is nowhere to be found. In this game, they had 5 turnovers, 14 penalties. I mean, does this team even give a shit anymore? Have they completely quit on Deion Sanders? Because it looks like it on the field. And then off the field, it feels like a circus with every post-game presser or a weekly press conference. How this team beat Iowa State, I will never understand. But they look like the worst team in the Big 12 right now. And I think they even look worse right now than Oklahoma State does, which is really hard to do. But Colorado, they're a complete shit show right now. Across the board, I can see a mass, just everybody in the transfer portal after this season. I don't know what it's going to look like this offseason, but it's not going to be good for Colorado. This season, they've just completely quit on this season, which is sad. And I can't believe I'm saying that for a team coached by Deion, who's such a rah, hype him up kind of guy. But it's been really fascinating for me to watch. And unfortunately, at some point, I'm sure he's probably going to take it out on the media as well. If things just
it's all Sean Keeler's fault.
Yeah, so just not good for Colorado. It's embarrassing, which is sad because, again, they're with Deion as the head coach, they could be on national television every single week if they were good. People would love to air their games, but nobody wants to watch them right now when they're this bad.
I can't believe Iowa State lost to them.
It's hard.
If I talk any more about it, I'm going to have a mental breakdown.
It's hard to think about now, looking back at that game.
I was so upset the day of that game already. And then they lost their next 2 games by almost 100 points combined.
I don't know if it was the Utah game that just they're just done. Like Utah just kicked their ass so bad that they're just like, we're never going to get back. I don't know what it is, but they look like they've completely given up and quit. It's bad. Not good.
And then Oklahoma State loses again. Look a little better in a loss to Kansas with the return of Zane Flores at quarterback. But the Pokes remain winless in Big 12 play dating back to the end of the 2023 season.
I think it's over like 700 days now, isn't it? Since their last Big 12 win or something.
Do I look like a mathematician? I said the end of 2023, whenever that was. How many days ago that was?
At least they showed up. Colorado didn't even show up.
They had some fight.
At least they showed up. Zane Flores brought some life to the offense, but unfortunately their defense is still just awful. I mean, they made things interesting for, a half against Kansas, but then Kansas, their offense woke up. They scored 4 touchdowns in the second half. Led by, of course, Jalen Daniels. So Oklahoma State at least made things interesting for a couple quarters, where Colorado, they were just bad from the start. Colorado's unwatchable. Oklahoma State was at least watchable.
That'll do it for our This Week in Stillwater and Boulder segment. We went a little over on our timer. Talked about him quite a bit. You're welcome, Deion. Hopefully he doesn't open his press conference banning the bigger than 12 crew from all future Colorado games.
He might not even be there anyways.
That's true.
He might be gone next year. I don't know.
That's true. All right. Now we bring in esteemed producer Aiden Wyatt for our random Big 12 quarterback segment.
This week's quarterback only spent one season in the Big 12.
Oh, boy.
It's a lot of guys.
He was at two different schools only. Well, I'm not going to say that second part, actually. I'm not going to say it. That'll be a hint if you guys need it.
Say it.
In his career, he had 64 passing touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and in his one season, he was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year.
Is it Jalen Hurts?
No.
That was a good guess. So he was his final year in the Big 12?
Yes.
Huh. Oh, man. Big 12 Player of the Year, huh?
Yep. Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year.
Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year.
Obviously. Not Defensive Player of the Year.
Boy. And he only spent one, didn't redshirt in the Big 12, just spent one season in the Big 12. That was it.
One season in the Big 12.
Oh, God. I'm trying to think back here.
Oh, I forgot you said no Oklahoma players. Dang it.
Yeah, that's
Did
true.
you say that? Oh, I didn't even know.
He said that
I
last
did say that last week because I think one of you asked if I would use Texas and Oklahoma players, and I'm not. I refuse.
This is a tough one. I feel like it's got to be a Baylor quarterback.
No. I don't think it is.
No.
The only one I could think of would have been Nick Florence, but I don't think it's Nick Florence because I think he spent more than 1 year in the Big 12. And then they had a couple guys after that. Big 12, that's the thing. It's Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, so it was a really good player. It almost makes me, was it from Dion that we were just talking about? I almost want to say it's Shedeur Sanders because he ended his last season was in the Big 12, his one and only season, and he was Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year.
It's a trick.
There you go.
It is Shedeur Sanders. There you go.
We were talking all that crap about Colorado, and he had to bring a Colorado quarterback in.
The hint I was going to say, but I didn't, was that he spent 2 years at the FCS level. I feel like that would have given it away because how many FCS quarterbacks have won Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year?
Tricky wording there, Aiden. Good work. Good work, dude.
Game.
That was a good
Saved
one.
it.
I think he was there for the game, wasn't he, on Saturday? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was there for the game on Saturday against Arizona.
Well, if he was there, he sure as heck wasn't having a good time.
No.
He should have gone to Whiskey River if he was looking for a good time.
Looking for a good time? Thought so. Whiskey River is just the place. We've got the booze, the food, the vibe, and the amazing rooftop patio. The only thing missing is you. Whiskey River.
Whiskey River, locations in Ankeny and Ames. They provide you a good time, cold beer, good food, great service, comfy bar chairs, big TVs. And they also provide our Big 12 top 5. And I'm leading it off with BYU. They stay put at number 1 after a bye week. Good for BYU. Texas Tech, I keep them at number 2. They massive win at Kansas State. The good news is the number 1 spot will be decided next week between BYU and Texas Tech, unless I guess a meteor hits Lubbock and both teams no longer get to play. But other than that, I think the number 1 spot will be between these two teams. And this is where it gets tricky. Utah, I think, is the clear third best team in the Big 12. They proved that Saturday night. They still got 2 losses, though. That puts them ahead of Cincinnati based off of head-to-head, who I feel like I couldn't drop any further than 4th, even though they lost by almost 30 points. And then Houston, they just had a really bad loss to West Virginia. But who do you put in at 5? Arizona State with Jeff Sims? TCU, who I feel like hasn't had a relevant win all season since SMU.
No.
Baylor, who beats UCF. I had a really hard time with this, so I just kept Houston despite their bad loss.
We have the same exact top 3. I've got BYU at number 1. I think it's pretty self-explanatory there, being undefeated. Texas Tech at 2, but again, like you said, that could easily change. Utah at 3. I think, to me, they are the solid third best team in this conference right now with the way they're playing. I have Arizona State at 4. You could make a case for them being at 5 or even 6. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Their win over Iowa State, still only 2 losses in conference play. They do have the head-to-head over Texas Tech, which I do like, which maybe could come in handy if BYU wins. But I have Arizona State at number 4. Cincinnati got bumped down to 5. If they would have kept it close against Utah, I think I probably would have left them at 4. Just the way they lost that game, I didn't like that. And plus, their schedule gets really tough from here on out. They still got a couple big games left, so I went Cincinnati at 5. Houston at 5, I don't have a problem with that. I just think on paper that West Virginia loss looks really, really bad on paper, even though, a couple weeks from now we might say that's actually a decent loss, but right now it's not.
Yeah, this was a tough one. It was just a tough week. Hopefully we'll have a little more figured out next week.
We could have number 1 next week.
We very well could. Now we bring Aiden in for the Iowa trivia question. And I've already had a borderline mental breakdown on the show when compartmentalizing that Iowa State lost to Colorado. So surely Aiden won't make us mad with this week's Iowa trivia question.
I won't. Don't call me Shirley. All right. Iowa 80, the world's largest truck stop.
Oh, yeah. I took Ben Hutchins there for the first time.
There you
on
go.
Our trip back from Cincinnati a couple weeks ago.
All right. I'm going to list all of these things that could possibly be at the truck stop and I want you to tell me what one is not actually there.
Okay.
Okay.
I like this. I like this. We're off to a good start.
Yeah, this one's a little more multiple choice, so I think you guys might be able to guess it. All right. A chiropractor. A dog park. A barbershop. A pickleball court. A dentist. And a movie theater.
We're supposed to say which one is not?
Which one is not?
Okay.
There.
Oh, gosh.
Which one did I just make up?
Oh.
I clearly haven't walked around the truck stop enough.
How big is it? Jesus.
It's massive.
It's like
the size of a county.
Somewhere. Let me see if I can find that quick. Square footage here.
It's like the size of Kenzo's hometown.
I mean, the pickleball courts.
I'll let you go first just because you're the non-Iowan, but
I think it's got to be either, you said a chiropractor, Aiden?
Yeah.
I would say a chiropractor or maybe the pickleball courts. I'm going to guess pickleball courts because I don't know what that would be doing at a truck stop. Some of the other stuff I could kind of see maybe where a trucker would need that, but you're on the you're driving an 18-wheeler, you're going to stop and be like, you know what, I think I'm going to take a break and play some pickleball before I hit the road again. I don't see that one.
I'm going dentist.
See, I could see a dentist there maybe.
That's just
It's
my
pickleball
guess.
court. It's pickleball court.
There we go.
So they do have a chiropractor, a dog park, a barbershop, a dentist, and a movie theater amongst.
Well, the reason I didn't go
other stuff.
chiropractor is because Rob Gray and I were literally talking about that. Like, oh yeah, it makes sense how there's a chiropractor here because of that.
Yeah.
Because of
Dog
sitting in
park.
trucks.
Yeah.
I could see all the other things.
Dog
I could
park
see.
makes sense. Dog parks are at most rest areas anyways.
I think I remember reading there was a movie theater, so I knew it wasn't. I knew a movie theater was there. So the pickleball courts that
I don't even know where the movie theater is. I
don't either. Yeah, I've only been there a couple times.
Yeah, I've stopped a couple times. It's overrated in my eyes, but maybe not. Maybe it's not overrated, and I just haven't.
Right.
Maybe I just haven't wandered around enough.
I haven't been. I'll have to go someday.
Well, thank you, Aiden, for not making us guess the weight of something. My gosh, that's relieving.
It was a nice change of pace for sure. It was refreshing.
Big 12 Survivor, another week, another 6 people out of the running. Man, Houston 2 touchdown favorites. You would have hoped that more people picked Houston, but only 6 people picked Houston, which means almost 125 people move on to another week. And guess what, folks? Oklahoma State's on a bye next week, so you can't pick against Oklahoma State. Unfortunately, Colorado plays, so I would imagine that's where most people go. If you are one of the remaining contestants, you'll be getting an email on Sunday evening. Thanks for participating thus far. Just before we move on to our picks, if we get to the end of the season and there's multiple people remaining, which I'm guessing there will be, I think the way we're going to do it is just kind of a pick 'em as tiebreakers. So we'll have the slate will reset. It'll be whatever, however many people are left. You'll just pick the Big 12 championship winner. And then those people that move on, we'll just pick every Big 12 bowl game. So if the first Big 12 bowl game is the Armed Forces Bowl, you'll pick the winner of that game. And then you just kind of go so on and so forth. And if we somehow get to the end and there are still people tied, then I guess we'll see what the heck we're going to do from there. But for now, that's kind of our idea for the tiebreaker on that. We move into our game picking segment. Derek, we totally forgot to text each other our pick for the Iowa State game, so it didn't happen. So we only had 4 games that we picked last week.
Probably best.
Yeah, probably for the best. You went 3-1.
There we go.
I go 2-2. So our season standings, I'm at 29-20. You're at 28-21. So we are neck and neck. And if you've been following us, you've had a good year on the books. Hopefully responsibly.
And this is the toughest conference to pick, by the way.
Absolutely. So you can just tell that we're the biggest Big 12 experts in the world. Clearly.
For now. Yeah.
For now.
Until next year.
I shouldn't have said anything, dang it. Well, we start this week with Colorado at West Virginia. I'm gonna throw the BYU Tech game last because it's such a massive game. This game is in Morgantown. It's getting the TNT treatment at 11 a.m. West Virginia is favored by 5.5 at home. The over-under is 56.5.
I can tell you I'm either leaning towards West Virginia at the 5.5 or I'm leaning towards the under 56, which I don't know. They just had a shootout though against Houston. I think I'm just going to take West Virginia.
Yeah, how can you not?
I think I just have to take West Virginia at this point after seeing Colorado play the last 2 weeks and completely given up.
So I appreciate Arizona for making me a lot of money because I saw that line and thought it was way too good to be true.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing is happening this week with West Virginia only getting 5.5 points against Colorado at home. My hypothesis on this, I'm guessing the sportsbook are giving Colorado a Deion bump still, not because they think highly of Deion, but because they know that there's a lot of morons out there betting that see, like a lot of people who only watch the NFL, like, I'm going to bet on Deion. They're playing a 1-6 team, and I'm taking West Virginia too. No
you might
question.
as well light
Skip.
your money on fire. If you think like that, you might as well just light your money on fire.
I'm glad we don't think like that, but there are a lot of morons out there that do. Next up, the Cyclones of Iowa State head down to Fort Worth, where Derek Duke will be in attendance for a 2:30 kick on Fox.
I will be.
The Cyclones are 6-point underdogs. The total is 57.5.
Oh, jeez. I don't feel good about Iowa State winning that game. I don't know if they're going to cover that game. Man. What was the over-under?
57.5.
I think I'm just going to take the over in that game. I don't know if either defense is going to be great. I
was kind of thinking the same thing.
I can see both offenses moving the ball well. I just defensively I don't see it. I don't see it from either team. I don't feel confident in TCU winning by that much either. I think TCU will win. Let me make that clear. TCU will win that game. I am going to pick TCU to win that game, but I don't feel comfortable with that spread. So I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, just because I don't want to be hand in hand with you, I'm going to take TCU.
Fair pick. I've
picked Iowa State too many times this year. They've let me down. This is a tough spot going into Fort Worth. You're beat up. You're broken. Just give me TCU to win this game by a touchdown. I'd be shocked if this spread doesn't end up closer to 8 points anyways.
How weird is it going to be that I'm going to be at the game and you're not going to be at the game?
That'll be weird.
It is weird.
That will be weird. I'll be holding down the fort for Cyclone Fanatic halftime and post-game duties. I think C-Dub is sitting in the stands with his lovely family.
Oh, okay.
So you'll have to hit him up.
Yeah.
Kansas at Arizona, not Carizona. Arizona, favored by 5.5 at home. Holy cow. 56.5 is the total. This game's 2:30 on ESPN2. Man, I would not have guessed that spread.
Give me the over. I'm taking the over in that game. I don't trust either defense in that spot either. I'm going to take the over.
I think this is an overreaction to Kansas losing badly to K-State a couple weeks ago in Arizona.
Yeah.
Hanging 50 on Colorado. I'm just going to take Kansas to cover the 5.5. I don't necessarily think they win this game, but this to me feels like a field goal either way. And I don't think Kansas is that bad. I think Arizona probably finds a way to win, but it would not shock me at all if Kansas went on the road and won this game.
I see a shootout in that game.
Our next game, this is a Friday night game. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this. I'm glad I know now. Houston at Central Florida, 7 o'clock, Friday night, prime time on Fox Sports 1. Guess the line on this one.
Houston's got to be favored in that game. I'm going to say Houston's favored by 4.5.
That's a miss. You're right that they're favored, but it's only 1.5 right now.
Oh,
consensus.
wow.
47.5 is the total. Yeah, give me Houston
Give
also.
me Houston all day on that.
I don't think we need any more analysis on that one.
No, not at all.
I might go place that as soon as we're done recording.
That's probably a good idea.
And
Same
hope
if
it
you're
hope it
listening.
doesn't jump to 10 by the time I hop on. And we close with this. The game of the week in college football finds itself in Lubbock, Texas, as undefeated BYU walks into Jones AT&T or whatever it is.
That's right.
Stadium, Jones AT&T Stadium. The home team, the Raiders, are favored by 10.5 points.
Whew.
The total is 53.5.
Oh, boy, 10.5.
That's a lot of points.
Let me say Texas Tech. I am going to pick Texas Tech to win that game. But that point spread is way too high for my BYU's going to cover that. They're going to find a way to make it. It's going to be within 7 points. They're going to cover that.
That spread worries me so much that I feel like we've been here this year with Texas Tech already.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're favored by, I get they're good, but are they that good? It wouldn't shock me at all if they won this game by 20. And I say this as I have been anti-BYU too many times on this program, and I'm not doing it again. Give me the under. 53.5. This game has 20-13 written all over it. It's got 24-21 written all over it. I don't see this game being a high-scoring affair whatsoever. I think you've got maybe the two best defenses in the conference, maybe the two best D-lines in the conference. I think this is a classic 11 a.m. sleepy start. Give me the under 53.5 in this one.
I don't mind. I think it's going to look a lot like a Utah BYU game. Just great defense all around. Both offenses are going to struggle. I can see that. Unfortunately, it's hard for me to pick against Texas Tech at home. I know BYU's got 2 weeks to prepare for this game, but at some point, I just don't see them making it undefeated all the way through this season. I don't. Even though I think they're a damn good football team. Let me start by saying that, but still, they're going to cover that spread. I'd be shocked if BYU wins that game, but they're going to cover that 10.5.
Man, if BYU wins this game,
they might as well just give them the trophy at that point.
Yeah.
Because they've went through it all. Although I think they still have to play Cincinnati, correct?
Yes.
I believe they still have to play Cincinnati.
They go to Nippert Stadium on November the 22nd.
You talk about two tough places. You got to go to Lubbock and then Cincinnati.
And they were just in Ames. They were
it.
just in Ames for one of the best crowds that I've seen at Jack Trice Stadium in a long time.
If they go into the Big 12 title game at 12-0, they are going to be they should be in the playoff no matter what at that point, no matter what happens in the Big 12 championship game, but they've definitely earned their spot there if they get there.
Awesome. Well, we'll be here to react to it. next Sunday. I'm excited. It'll be a good week in the Big 12.
I'll be in Fort Worth, hanging out in the stockyards this weekend.
Thank you for hanging out with us here in the Channel Seed Studios. We'll be back Sunday next week for Bigger Than 12 here in the Channel Seed Studios. We'll see you then.